Hello and welcome to this weekend's qualification report for Anaheim 2 Supercross. Before we get into today's video, the first issue of my magazine for 2024 will be released on the first weekend of February. Now, to cut back on expenses and leftovers, we're releasing the magazine a bit differently this year. Instead of buying in bulk with a guess of how much stock we'll need, I'm now implementing pre-orders and also the Mag Pass, so Mag Pass subscribers get it for the year. Now, if you want just issue number 7, you can go pre-order a copy now or just become a Mag Pass subscriber and get all 2024 copies. Now, after pre-orders are closed, there won't be any available, so make sure you get one now while they're available. I can't tell you the stories that are in issue number 7 for sure right now, but I can tell you that the Cowboy Aaron Plessinger will be on the cover, so if you want issue number 7, go pre-order one now. Before we get into the actual qualifying, I'll give you some pre-qualifying info. They did make some track changes, as you can see on the screen right now, from the map to the building of it this week. They were supposed to have an over-under bridge jump, but for some reason they got rid of it. Instead of having whoops into a turn, then more whoops, they now have rearranged the track and flipped it around in one spot and added another turn in there to prevent that for some reason. I don't know why they made the changes. They never explained it, but they did change it from the original map. On top of that, also, Monster Energy Kawasaki rider Adam Cianciarulo is sitting out Anaheim 2. We don't know how long he's going to be out, but he did say today that he had a hand injury sustained from Anaheim 1, but now it's acting up. Couldn't ride with it, so he's sitting out this weekend. That's according to Kawasaki's press release anyway. So we don't know when we'll see him again, but that's it for today. On to 250 qualifying session number 1 for the A-Class. First place on top, RJ Hampshire came out with a 59.058 second lap time. RJ has been attempting to get back on the horse after a couple rough weekends, per his expectations anyway this year. He obviously wants to stay in title contention, as he had the red plate after round 1. Now, in press day yesterday, he was actually like the only guy laying down motos. He was putting in heaters every single lap, trying new lines, trying to get hot laps, etc. I think that speaks to what we'll see out of him tonight. He looked great in the first session. Let's see if he can carry that into the night show. Second place, Levi Kitchen. Levi has been very consistent thus far in 2024, and he's keeping that up today in this session. You could see the eagerness he has to be the top guy. He held first for a while, but towards the end, RJ topped his lap time. He still looked good, though, and he even started the trend for all these guys of jumping through the whoops. It became faster at one point in the session. Now, in third place, we have Joe Shimoda with a 59.404. Not much to say about Joe because the Race Day Live crew really ignored him from the session, so not much camera time, but hey, third place is not a bad spot to be. Let's see if he can flip things around. Shimoda's had a rough go at it so far. Let's see what he can do in the night show. Now, I got a couple mentions I wanted to add in from this session. Ryder DeFrancesco, he made a mistake early. The rollers in that left-hand corner seem to be pretty slippery. I'll put that video up on screen right now. He didn't follow, it was close, but the Frenchman, Anthony Bourdon, he went down in that spot later in the session, so that proved that's a wicked slick spot, so look out for that in tonight's race. Now, here's the rest of the results. Fourth place, points leader Jordan Smith. He's been extremely consistent this year, and he's keeping that trend today, obviously. Fifth place, last weekend's winner, Nate Thrasher. Sixth, Garrett Marchbanks, man, he's been on top of it lately. Hopefully he can stay consistent. The past couple rounds have been incredible for him. Maybe he can keep that together, put together a solid season. Seventh place, Julian Beaumer. Solid start. I mean, honestly, it's really impressive for a rookie. He's kind of following in the Hayden Deegan's footsteps of coming in and immediately becoming a top contender in the class. Ryder D with 8th, Carson Mumford with 9th, and Mitchell Oldenburg rounding out the top 10. On to the first 450 qualifying session, Malcolm Stewart came out on top with a 58.346. Mookie looked fantastic the entire session. It just seemed like he had his 2022 flow back. We remember how good he was that year. He had some really technical lines going on in there too. I'm pumped to see him back on top. Hopefully he can hold it together and have a comeback this weekend. He's had a rough go at it so far, so if anybody needed that, it was him for sure. Second place, we have Justin Cooper. I have nothing really to say about Justin Cooper, as Race Day Live didn't give him more than a second of airtime, which sucks because he had the top spot in the session for over half of the time. So, Feld, get your crap together. Quit showing Webb for like minutes on end when he's barely running the top 10. Focus on his teammate maybe for a minute or so, who was in first place. I mean, Justin Cooper, that's an incredible step up for him. He's kind of had a little rough go at it, but overall, I mean, really ignore him like that. But anyway, yeah, pretty sad they just ignored Justin in that session. Third place, Jet Lawrence with a 58.652. Jet is obviously back with a vengeance after the media storm he's gone through this week. It's probably the first attack he's really gone through, so he's probably coming back with a vengeance. He was doing some very technical lines in this session, especially through the whoops. He had it down. I don't know if I have the clip of that, but I'll throw it up if I do. On to our mentions, Aaron Plessinger finished 12th place. Man, really uncharacteristic for him. I mean, he's never really been the qualifying guy, But 12th, that just seems kind of off for him, especially after having the red plate. Maybe that's holding him down pressure-wise. Too much pressure on his shoulders, but we don't know yet. He's never really been one to top qualifying, except in mud, obviously, but 12th just seems a little off to me. Now, tonight is a Triple Crown, so that may play into his hands better than most, as he's been pretty consistent this year. Maybe he can stick to that tonight, but let's look at the rest of the results. Now, I know they're wrong on screen for some reason. Feld had it wrong on the live, Race Day Live show, so let's go from 4th place down, 5th place down. Sexton was obviously in 4th. Then we got Jason Anderson. Not too bad, not great. I was expecting more out of him. I figured he'd be more angry, but later on, we'll see later on. Anyway, 6th place, Ken Roxon. 7th, Eli. He's still struggling a bit, like I mentioned. 8th for Cooper Webb, barely top 10. Jorge Prado in 9th. Pretty impressive for him, especially in dry conditions. I figured he'd be struggling because there's a lot of top guys in this class now, and Ferrandis rounding out top 10. I did want to mention, I think there's a crazy stat that Plessinger and Ferrandis are the only guys so far this season who haven't been lapped. So that's pretty insane. Obviously, Ferrandis has done pretty good this year, especially for being on a satellite team, but that's all I got to say on that. Let's move on to Supercross Futures. In the Futures one, Drew Adams was in 1st place. I guess he trains with the Lawrence brothers at their facility in Florida, so he must have some talent. It showed in qualifying for sure. I don't know much about him, but he looked great. He had a 1 minute, 2 second lap time. Still not great compared to the 250 class. So he clearly has work to do on the bike before he steps up to the pro class. But either way, looked great out there. Let's see what he can do tonight. Mark Phineas, not much to say about his riding, as they ignored him for most of the session 2 on Race Day Live. They seriously got to get their stuff together, man. It's kind of annoying not to watch these guys who finished so well. And Parker Ross was 3rd, same thing, good lap time, but they ignored him. Honorable mention is 4th, Gavin Towers. He was the only guy outside the top 3 with a 1 minute, 2 second lap time. He was so close to Ross's lap time, but he just couldn't get there. Besides that, he looked great on track. They showed him an awful lot. I think that was because he was the fastest guy in the second session. But yeah, that's what we expect out of this young kid. He's got a bright future ahead of him. I also wanted to add this for a mention in the Futures class. Peppard, I haven't heard of this kid before. He ate it twice and finished 11th overall, but I figured I'd show you guys those crashes right here. I'd also like to add in that Christian Janik, most of us know him, he's a really fast kid, up and coming. He didn't race today, or he didn't race in that session anyway, as he crashed. I guess he got carted off in the medical mule today, so no update so far. I looked into it and texted some people, but I didn't get nothing, so hopefully he's all right. All right, on to the second and final session for the 250 class. For the overall, the track seemed to have slowed down a bit from the first session. Not many guys could beat their lap times. Some did for sure, but top 3 remained the same. Biggest changes being Julian Beaumaire. He moved himself up to 5th place from 7th from the first session, so that was impressive for him. And then Mitchell Oldenburg made his way up to a solid 7th place position. Really good ride from him. Freckle, he's a pretty good rider. He's just been off a little bit this year. I mean, I don't necessarily think he's off, but the pack's so deep, so he's got a lot of work to do, but he seems to be finding his flow, which is good. There's the updated results from that. On to the 450 overall. There were some more changes. Surprisingly, there was quite a bit of change in the second session for the 450s. Jay Coop came out on top at the very last second with a 57.933 lap time. He was the only guy to get under 58 seconds, so that was pretty incredible for him. Again, they ignored him the entire session on TV until he did get that fastest lap time. So I'm rooting for Jay Coop tonight. He's kind of the underdog, been flying under the radar so far. Everyone's been focused on his 2 teammates, but Jay Coop is dangerous too, so let's see what he can do tonight. Second big change was Chase Sexton, who was in first place up until that last second when Jay Coop got him. Sexton ended up with a solid 58.271 lap time. If I'm being honest, he looked more comfortable in that session than I think I've ever seen him on KTM. He was killing it out there, so I think he's going to be a tough guy to beat tonight as long as he can stay consistent. Another guy moving up in the final session was Jason Anderson, making his way up to 3rd place. Anderson looked solid all day. He just couldn't lay down a solid lap when he needed to. In this session, he was out for blood. Just slightly off of Sexton's lap time. Now the final big change we had in the top 10 was Jet dropping from 2nd place to 5th overall. That's not good for him. He just didn't look like he had it in that second session. I don't think he was trying as hard as he should be because, I mean, he's probably assuming, hey, track's getting worse, just lay off a little bit. And then Sexton, Jay Coop, all these guys come out swinging, so sucks that he dropped that far down, but maybe it'll give him some more anger to fuel him in the main events tonight. Here's the updated results from the overalls in the 450 class. All right, that's it for today's qualifying report. Anaheim 2. Tonight's the first Triple Crown of the year and the first one with Supercross Futures. So let me know what you guys think of all of that. Now, in the 450s, can Jet bounce back? Is AP going to be able to back it up? Let me know all your thoughts about tonight's race down below. Who do you think has got it? Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support me, like, subscribe, do all those things. Go to my website, link in the description, buy a magazine, do all those things. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you guys in the next one.